There are a few of us who oppose this fundamentalist caricature of what the Bible has to say. They have not taken the time to understand, this is the fundamentalists, things that are really going on inside the Bible, things like abortion, things like homosexuality, and even the contradictions that occur between passages in scriptures. It's a painful irony, in fact, what they've done. You see, they have essentially developed a straw man of their own work. So when they say, for example, on the subject of homosexuality, and when this comes up in the Bible, I guess after this tonight, we should all know what to do. We have to look at, I think that most of us would be aware of the scripture in Leviticus 18:22, I'll put it up in a second. But we have to understand a little bit about the context of Leviticus. You see, the ancient rabbis referred to it as Torat Kohanim, which just means the prescriptions for the priests. So Leviticus 18:22 says, "Do not lie with a male as one lies with a woman. It is an abhorrence." Now, I can understand why many of us would see that this was, I guess, a slight on homosexuality, a prohibition of a homosexual relationship. And most of us, on saying that, will fight on that caricature that the fundamentalist projects to us. We will argue on their terms. We'll either go to the science to show that it most probably isn't a choice. We'll go to the science to show that it occurs in nature everywhere. But what most of us won't do is go to the history behind this text. To understand what this is probably discussing, we have to have a pretty good understanding of ancient Near Eastern culture and religion. I don't have the time to nearly go into it all, but what I can do is this. I can explain to you that in the ancient Near East, there was no such distinction between a homo and a heterosexual relationship of any kind, whether it be sexual or whether it want to be formalized. There was just no such distinction. They have had no social construct in order to distinguish between the two. To them, it just didn't exist. So what is this likely referring to? Well, we have to ask ourselves, what does this sound most like about the ancient Near East? We do know, and I guess the most polite way to put it, is that in the ancient Near East, it was in fact quite a rife practice where men would subjugate other males by anal penetration. That's what they did. They would have anal intercourse with another man in order to humiliate, in order to subjugate, and in order to seek revenge. Now, the revenge part of this is important. I'll explain. Very quickly, though, this occurs in what we call the Holiness Code. The Holiness Code, what we'll just refer to as the H-Rider. And it seems that the H-Rider, in fact, his view on any sexual act that doesn't result in procreation is an abhorrence. That seems to be his view. You see, he mentions it once here in Leviticus 18:22 and once again in Leviticus 20:13. And there it is mentioned in a legal collection of laws, which makes sense if this is prohibiting one taking the law into their own hands to seek retribution on another male. You'll notice that it never says a woman cannot lie with a woman as she does a male. It is an abhorrence for very good reason. Women don't have the appendages in order to be able to do that to somebody, right? And so that is essentially what this is talking about.